Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, December 2nd. I'm Jon Weigell here with Martina Bretous and Matt Village, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Do you wish your grandma could take care of phone scammers for you? If so, that's kind of weird, but you actually got your wish. An AI grandma has been developed to help with unwanted calls, and our AI expert Martina Bretous and Matt Village from the Mindstream newsletter are here to discuss that and the business of AI cloning. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first let's give you the news in business and tech. First off here, don't come at me on a Monday, everybody, but recent research from Axios HQ is saying that the best window to send an internal email, aka the time that it's most likely to get opened, is Sunday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The study says emails sent during that time frame had a 94% chance of being opened, compared with a 50 to 76% chance of being opened during the other days of the week. Very sorry for revealing that, but please don't take the advice there. Next, OpenAI is having a bit of an Elon problem. Musk is asking a federal court to deny OpenAI's conversion into a for-profit company. This is Musk's fourth attempt to stuff Sam Altman, and no doubt to help pave the way for his XAI and Grok chatbot in the future. Keeping with the tech trend, we go to Apple. Apple's also in a bit of trouble. According to the market intelligence firm IDC, iPhone sales barely improved at all in 2024, growing only by 0.4%. Apple still leads the industry in profit, but customers' lack of interest in AI isn't exactly helping them. And to keep with the tech, we go to Meta. Meta reportedly plans to build a 24.8 thousand or more mile fiber optic subsea internet cable that only it will use. Though an undertaking that could cost $10 billion and take many years to complete, Meta alone accounts for 10% and 22% of all fixed and mobile traffic, respectively, so it could be a good investment in the long term. And finally, for Black Friday shoppers, you did it, everybody. Congratulations. Good job. Salesforce is saying that global spending for the yearly Shoptacular reached $74.4 billion, and that's up 5% from 2023. No doubt because Black Friday gets longer every year. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've seen deals for 3 weeks and we'll see them for 2 more weeks. What is it, Cyber Monday today? Yeah, the whole week. Okay, on to the main story today. As I said above, we have Martina Bretous and Matt Village talking about AI grannies and the ethics and business of AI cloning. So take it away, y'all.
Hi, Matt. How are you doing today?
Hey, Martina. I'm very well, thank you.
I'm super excited to talk to you about all things AI, the latest and greatest. What's an interesting piece of AI news that you've come across recently?
You want to talk about AI grannies?
I definitely do. What is that?
So we had some news last week where O2, which is a kind of mobile service provider, so like a Verizon of the UK, have launched an AI granny phone responder. So essentially scammers get put through to this line and think they're talking to a real person, but they're actually just talking to an AI.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like an old granny. So it's very slow and kind of deliberate, designed to delay these scammers and waste as much of their time as possible.
That is so funny to me.
You should watch it. There's some videos of it. You should see it in action. It's pretty amazing.
Can you actually play a clip? Do you have that ready? Because I'd love to hear a little bit of what that AI granny sounds like.
Yeah, let's play it now.
I'm an AI created by O2 to waste phone scammers' time. So W is then a dot.
3 times W and then dot.
I think your profession is bothering people, right?
I'm just trying to have a little chat.
That's very impressive.
It might be like the best example I've heard.
I love the idea of AI just wasting people's time on the phone, because scammers, they actually have nothing but time. And if this granny can keep somebody on the phone for longer so that they don't have to call me, I'm eternally grateful for this.
100%. So this was made in collaboration with a YouTuber called Jim Browning. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's pretty big. But I definitely recommend going down that rabbit hole if you've never seen any of his content, because his entire channel is about wasting scammers' time. And he gets pretty technical with it. He like hacks into their webcams and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Whoa. I've seen a lot on TikTok when I'm just scrolling. I'll come across creators who do that, right? They just go on live and they waste scammers' time. But I think the problem with that is it's not really scalable. It's one person who's doing this work.
Yeah.
There's only so many hours that you have to do something like this. So scaling it with AI, like we could have thousands and thousands of AI grannies doing this on the regular.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had this on your phone.
Yeah, amazing. I'd love to see it. Thousands of different grannies taking all these calls.
So I've heard a lot recently about the impact that AI is having with fraud, with scamming. So are you seeing any interesting data about this? And what is it telling us about where we're headed?
Yeah, it's kind of a game of cat and mouse. AI is certainly being leveraged for scams, that's for certain, but it's also being used to kind of counter them, as in the example we've just kind of discussed. But certainly financial fraud, for example, recently there was a higher financial advisor got a deep fake video call telling him to transfer like $25 million.
Whoa.
He went ahead and did it because he thought he was talking to his, superior, but it was all just a big con, all made with AI. Stuff like that's pretty crazy.
I can imagine the huge impact of that. Somebody sending $25 million to somebody who they think is a superior. Those are conversations that I've had with my own family. Like, what if my voice ends up being cloned and somebody calls my parents asking for money?
That's where it gets scary, right? Because AI has the power to personalize. So it's not just a random scammer on the phone, it's your mom or your grandma. That's what makes it so scary and makes people fall for it.
Have you seen any kind of AI regulation that's curtailing this usage?
In terms of regulation, it's obviously like such a new area. We've seen the EU AI Act has come in recently, and that kind of stipulates about deep fakes and the fact you need to kind of say when you're using a deep fake, but that's not going to deter scammers. I think maybe the US is still catching up on this and other places around the world.
Yeah, the US has historically been a little bit behind the curve when it comes to AI regulation. So it makes sense that internationally that they're a little bit more ahead with the EU with the AI Act that they recently passed, I think earlier this year, right?
Yeah, it's a whole of a battle between regulation and innovation because that AI Act got a lot of plaudits, but then a lot of these tech companies were saying, well, we don't want to work in the EU now. Mm-hmm. We're going to pull our AI products out because they found it too restrictive. So I think, places like the US are probably erring on the side of caution because they want to stay as the center of innovation for AI.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting balance to strike between innovation and when do we kind of risk people's security and their data privacy and things like that. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to kind of pivot a little bit to AI cloning generally and its impact on entertainment and news. Because recently I heard about this really well-known BBC broadcaster, David Attenborough, and he was saying that he was super disturbed when the BBC told him that people were cloning his voice. And one thing he said that stood out to me was that he felt like his identity was being stolen. And when I think about identity theft in the traditional sense, we think about, in the US at least, your social security number, your address, your name. And I never thought of my voice being a key part of my identity. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing through all of these examples, your voice being used to steal your identity and being used in these different ways. So we've talked about it from a consumer perspective, but I'm curious your thoughts on its potential impact in the news space and the entertainment space.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a new fingerprint, right? And you only need a few seconds to clone a voice. With the Attenborough stuff, it's interesting. So a new show just came out with him and people were saying, oh, is this AI? Because they didn't believe it was actually him.
Wow.
It wasn't AI, but that spiraled the news. And then from there, it came out that people were cloning his voice for other stuff. And that's what kind of led to him commenting on it, which is pretty interesting. But I do think this is something that's going to become commonplace. Attenborough's not for it, but some actors will be. Some actors will say, yeah, I'll sign away my voice for $2 million or whatever. You can use it long after I die. Like, we're definitely going to see that.
Yeah, I read another story about Elon Musk. Apparently, he's the most common celebrity used in deepfake scams, mm-hmm. which is wild to me. But there was a story about this woman who kept seeing ads on social media. I think it was Facebook. She kept seeing ads where Elon Musk was asking her to invest in this business. She said, this sounds like Elon. This looks like Elon. This can't be a scam. And turned out it was very much a scam. So with more of these things happening, do you think celebrities and content creators who don't want to be part of this, should they be worried about this?
It's a whole new frontier, isn't it? People have never seen this sort of cloning stuff because it's so realistic. Like, it makes sense that you'd fall for it. If you're not keeping up with AI, you just see a video on your feed, like, what else are you going to think? We've literally never seen anything like this. I think a kind of solution is we'll need to do some kind of tagging on content, and we're going to have to find a way where it's kind of embedded in the video. It's not just like a watermark. I think that's going to be a real struggle. That's kind of the only way I can see it, is keeping on top of it.
YouTube and social media, they've started recently tagging AI creation on videos. Like you'll see on the video, AI was used to generate part of this content or all of the content. So we're seeing this tagging happening with videos, but we haven't seen it used for audio. And I wonder too, if now it makes it a little dangerous for celebrities to validate that, hey, this is me, this is not me, because their voice is the one thing that's supposed to be unique, right? Because we've seen deepfakes used most commonly in videos, but now audio is another element that they have to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember those kind of like cheesy spy movies from like the early 2000s where it'd be like, you need your voice print to get through the door?
Yeah.
It's like, now that'll be absolutely no problem with AI.
You know, we've talked about the doom and gloom of it all, of AI cloning in the worst cases, but in the business space, I'm wondering if there are some really interesting use cases that you've seen. You talked about language learning. Tell me a little bit more about that, or any other use cases that you think AI cloning has a place.
You know, we will see some positive uses of this. You know, we've seen that kind of anti-scammer one. I think Amazon are using it for like audiobooks, which is great. A lot of people like their audiobooks to be read by the author if it's like a famous person, things like that. And stuff like language learning. You know, maybe you can talk to a celebrity, you know, someone's trying to learn English. They can have a conversation with Tom Hanks, you know, stuff like that's pretty cool.
Right.
I think it's going to be massive for meetings in the future. It's something that Zoom are going big on, yet to see if it's going to play out like this, but they like the idea of you making an AI avatar that you then send to all your meetings, although if everyone at the meetings is AI, I don't really know how that's going to work. But yeah, I think AI cloning will become common. Maybe, you know, you want to chat to the CEO, well, he's too busy, but you can have 5 minutes of his clone.
How would you feel about that? I don't know if I would like that. Imagine going to a meeting and it's an AI avatar showing up and not the actual person. I'm not too fun about that. What about you, Matt?
No, especially if you didn't find out until after.
Oof.
Yeah, you'd be pretty disappointed, wouldn't you? But I think maybe that might become normal in 5 or 10 years. Like, it's absolutely crazy to us now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we recently covered on the blog AI being used in the hiring process. Specifically, rather than talking to a human who can run a proper assessment, the AI avatar is running the assessment and it's saving some people some time. However, I can imagine as candidate, part of the hiring process is you getting that one-to-one connection with your recruiter, with the hiring manager, with the team. And so I'm really wondering how much we can expect businesses, both internally and externally, to be leveraging AI and the impact that it's going to have on their business and their customers.
Yeah, I think that's probably an example of it going too far. I hate the idea of a job interview with an AI. Like, it's just ridiculous. There's certainly places where I've got to maintain that human touch.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting for us to follow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for giving us the scoop of what's happening in AI. Excited to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Martina. It's been a pleasure.
All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Matt. And thank you for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll catch you tomorrow.